The next couple of weeks should be a very interesting test for our San Francisco Giants. As it stands now, we sit 23-18, exceeding expectations here in Season 2, currently standing as the tied for number 1 wild card in the National League. We're hoping to keep the train rolling, and we've got some good teams on the schedule. Chicago, Cleveland, Atlanta, and Seattle amongst 4 of our next 5 series. Those are not going to be easy. Those are 4 really good teams. And then the Rockies, I don't want to completely overlook them, being that they're a division rival. Currently, we're in second place in the NL West, 5 games behind the Dodgers, who we had our first series against early in May. And as I mentioned, we're the number 1 wild card currently, but we're also only a game and a half out. So there's not a lot of breathing room between the really 6 or 7 teams contending for wild card spots. We also went through the minor leagues in the last episode, getting a look at the AA and AAA teams, taking a look at some of our top prospects, such as Scott Rios, the 4th rounder from a year ago, who's the number 1 prospect in all of baseball. We got to look at our recent international free agent signing, Vicente Alegre, Edwin Arroyo, who was a big part of the Matt Chapman deal last year, and of course, Kyler Rodriguez, our first round pick a year ago, who already has 11 home runs, one of which was in the game that we played. All of these young players have really produced. Our farm system went from one of the worst in the league to quickly one of the best. And again, don't forget, we've got the 4th overall pick in this year's draft with our jump in the MLB draft lottery. We'll be talking more about the draft later in coming episodes, but right now our focus is fully on the big league team, and we've had some guys really play well hitting-wise. Jun-Hoo Lee's been phenomenal again. J.P. Crawford's having a great year. Marco Luciano is completely broken out. And then in terms of the pitching, obviously Blake Snell, the NL's Pitcher of the Month in April, has headlined the list. But Michael Lorenzen's performed well, so has Kyle Harrison, and the bullpen's been pretty good too. We have gotten banged up by injuries recently with Blake Sabol, Patrick Bailey, and Jonathan India. So both of our catchers have been out. We've kind of had to mix and match a little bit there. And Jonathan India just got hurt right at the end of the last episode. We're going to bring up Elliot Ramos. I was between him and Trevor Larnach. Both of them have played well. But Ramos was the first guy off of the big league team after spring training, so I wanted to give him the opportunity. I do want to talk about Marco Luciano real quick because over the last 2 weeks, he has been on an absolute tear. And through 51 at-bats, he's already got 5 home runs, only 7 strikeouts, hitting .353 with a slugging at .725, an OPS at .1125, and his WAR is already at 1.2. Marco Luciano has finally arrived. He's tied for 3rd on the team in WAR, despite getting like a third of the at-bats compared to some of the other everyday guys. He was only called up 3 weeks ago, but he's had some exceptional performances in that span. Against Toronto, triple shy of the cycle. 2 games earlier, he homered twice. Against the Dodgers, again, triple shy of this cycle in which he drove in 4 of our 5 runs. 2 games prior to that, what did he do? He went 3 for 3. He has been on another level over the last couple of weeks, and while I don't expect him to keep up this level of play, it's been awesome seeing him finally break out. Development isn't always linear. Luciano's been a top prospect for about 5 years now. He didn't play very well last season, but he's finally taking the curve up. So let's now look at this Cubs series. I'm going to play the second game. I haven't gotten to pitch with Michael Lorenzen yet, so I want to look at this matchup with Blake Snell and Justin Steele, 2 all-star level lefties. And we get the news that Blake Sabol is back, so Andy Thomas will be sent down to AAA after a week in the big leagues. We lost that first game against Chicago 8-4. Not a great start from Blake Snell, who certainly has begun to come back down to earth. The bullpen, though, didn't do too well either. Sean Jelly and Jordan Hicks allowing 4 runs. I don't know why it was those 2 pitching since it was after the 7th inning. But yeah, neither of those guys have been any good this year. And we're going to send down Sean Jelly to the minors. He just hasn't been performing well, ERA around 8. And we're going to place him with Landon Roop. This would have been Keaton Wynn, but he got injured in the last episode. He's on the 60-day IL. So it'll be Roop who is called up and replaces him in the bullpen. Austin Slater was supposed to start this game against the Cubs. He ended up getting hurt, which kind of sucks, being that we're facing off against Shota Imanaga, who again is a left-handed pitcher. And Austin Slater's a guy who we have here to go against lefties. So this is the second of a 3-game set here at Oracle Park. The weather is not good. Pouring rain between a pair of 23-19 squads. Both teams at the exact same record, tied as the number 1 wild card in the National League. Let's take a look at Michael Lorenzen, who's made back-to-back All-Star teams with the Tigers and last year the Yankees. He's been very solid this year, 3.53 ERA, 1.24 whip. The strikeout rate is really low, but he hasn't allowed too many walks or hits. And overall has been a really consistent third arm behind our top two guys. As Nico Hoerner opens up the game with a single into center field as that one gets by the diving glove of J.P. Crawford. And the Cubs start with an early base runner. Hoerner looks through second. He is safe. Despite Blake Sapol returning healthy, it is Brandon Martirano behind the dish. On the play, Nico Hoerner ended up getting injured sliding to second, and the Cubs fear it could be a pretty serious injury to his hand. And the former Giant, Wilmer Flores, will pinch run and replace him for the rest of the game. This obviously hurts their speed on the bases, being that Wilmer's not the fastest. As Bo Bichette draws a walk, acquired last year at the deadline from Toronto. 2 on, 1 away for Bellinger. He puts it on the ground. This could be 2, 4, 6, 3. Inning-ending double play. And Michael Lorenzen gets out of the jam, and the Cubs are unable to score. Let's take a look at the Japanese lefty, Shota Imanaga. Through 8 starts this year, he has been incredible. For whatever reason, the name Shota is deemed as a bad word by MLB The Show. You know what else has been bad? Opposing offensive players against him. A strikeout rate at around 33%, ERAs barely above 2, whip at around 1.2. He has been unbelievable, a legitimate Cy Young candidate as he strikes out Jung-Hoo Lee. That'll bring up Jorge Soler in the 2-hole despite batting 191. Rips it up the middle for a single into center. Soler's hit for good power, per usual, but the contact this year and last year has been a real issue for him. Marco Luciano's average up to 364 now after another good game in the first matchup against the Cubs. Checks his swing, draws a walk. 2 on, 2 away. Big opportunity here for the 5-hitter J.P. Crawford, who's hitting .314. He's been so steady. He's driven in a ton of runs this year, and he swings at a pitch that he should not have. A rare miscue from Crawford. He's one of the smarter guys you'll find, and he's got great plate discipline. But he gets fooled by the outside slider by Imanaga, and he'll get out of the first inning, getting himself out of the jam as well. Let's move into the second now. 2 away for Gavin Sheets. Looks at a slider right down the middle. That was the perfect pitch to just crush into the cove. I don't know what he was waiting for. Bottom second, David Villar getting the start, being that the Cubs are starting a lefty. And Villar's been really good this year, hitting .308, but he goes down looking on a fastball. Again, I don't know what he was waiting for. That was the perfect pitch. That'll bring up Joey Gallo, who's cooled off after his strong first month to the year. 223 is still pretty good for him, though, and he draws a walk. So that'll bring up Elliot Ramos, his first big league at-bat of the year after a good spring training and a great stretch in AAA. He'll ground into a double play. Not the start Ramos was looking for, and Imanaga gets out of the inning as it remains scoreless as we move into the third. Channel legend Josh Bell is up. He goes down on the sweeping curve. We've had Josh Bell in 3 of the last 4 franchise series dating back to MLB The Show 20, a fixture here. Reese McGuire jerks this one off into left. That'll go for a base knock as he rubs one out, and the Cubs get a base runner here with 1 away. McGuire hasn't had this much fun since he was alone in his car in a parking lot. If you know, you know. Wilmer Flores goes down looking on the sinker. 2 away with McGuire tugging it there at first, as that'll bring up Tyler Wade. His first game of the season as he gets this one by Marco Luciano for a base hit. So Wade is aboard while Reese McGuire is now stroking himself into scoring position. And that'll bring up Bo Bichette with 2 away. He flies it into center, and it is caught by Jung-Hoo Lee. So again, the Cubs get a couple of base runners, but the Giants are able to get out of the jam as we go bottom 3. Brandon Martirano with a single into center. This might be his last opportunity in the big leagues, health permitting, for quite a while once Patrick Bailey comes back. So it's good to see him getting another start here, making a play with the base hit. Now aboard at first with 1 away for Jorge Soler. Ropes this one into left. Soler 2 for 2 on the night. Martirano looks to make it to third. Soler headed for second. I'm surprised there was not a relay throw there at short from Dansby Swanson. I feel like they could have gotten Soler at second if there was a little bit more urgency to get the ball out. With that, there's runners in scoring position for Max Kepler with a liner to short. He hit that ball well, but unfortunately for him, Dansby Swanson was at the right place at the right time. Otherwise, the Giants would have scored 2. That'll bring us to the cleanup man. That's Marco Luciano, not normally batting in the 4-hole, but San Francisco's mixing and matching around the order today. Walk to start, hits it well to second, but it is caught by his former teammate Wilmer Flores. And again, he hit the ball hard, but Flores was at the right place at the right time. He makes a good play. And that'll bring us into the 4th. Still scoreless despite plenty of base runners from both sides, as Cody Bellinger goes down on the sweeping curve. Another punch-out for Lorenzen. Now facing off against Dansby Swanson, who's held the shortstop position even with the Bo Bichette trade, and he goes down on the slider. 4 scoreless for Michael Lorenzen, as that'll bring us into the bottom of the 4th. Will this be the inning where we get some runs? It's David Villar up for San Francisco. He's ahead 3-1, and Villar hits this one into center for a hit. That was a really good play by Villar because it was a sweeping curve. It had a ton of movement up in the zone. Not only does he make contact with it, but he hits it well, and he gets a base hit out of it. That'll bring up Joey Gallo now. The following batter puts it right on the ground, and it looks like Flores will tag second, makes the throw to first for a double play. Wilmer Flores was moving as he was able to tag the base in turn 2. I did not know he had that type of speed in him. He's slower than my grandmother, or at least he was last year. Into the 5th, Gavin Sheets leads things off with a single. Could this be the run that the Cubs need to get a run or possibly more with Lorenzen's strong start? Reese McGuire connects with the tip, grounder up the middle, and Lorenzen will make the play. Runner advances though, but McGuire is ultimately retired. That'll bring up Wilmer Flores. Hits it into left with 2 away. Soler chases after it, and he will not make the grab. Run scores, and it's the former Giant, Wilmer Flores, who drives home the first runner of the ball game, and the scoreless drought is finally over here in the 5th. Cubs lead at 1-0. Doesn't look like they'll get any more here as Wade grounds out to short. Luciano makes the play, but Chicago does finally score, and we move into the bottom of the 5th. With 1 away, it's Brandon Martirano. He's now 2 for 2 as he rips this one into the right center gap and triples alley. Martirano's pretty fast for a catcher as well, but he'll hold up at second with a double. San Francisco now the runner in scoring position here with 1 away, and a nice opportunity for the top of the order. With 2 gone, it's Jorge Soler, and the runner now at third. Soler with base hits in each of his first 2 at-bats, and he will draw a walk. Soler, of course, a former top prospect with the Cubs. Didn't fully pan out there, but he did win a World Series with Chicago. And the Cubs are going to make a pitching change. I'm really surprised by this decision. I get that Imanaga's allowed a handful of base runners, but some of these next hitters for the Giants are not so good against lefties. As we look at the next 3, it's Kepler, then it's Luciano, then it's Crawford. All 3 of them are better against righties. So I really don't get the decision to bring in Jamison Tyone, who is a righty, considering how well Imanaga's pitched today. That'll start with Max Kepler, who is 0 for 2. Full count, runners on the corners, and he rips it up the middle for a base hit, and we're tied at 1. Shocker, taking Shota Imanaga out of the game was a bad decision. Who would have thought? Not me, am I right? And now Marco Luciano's got a great opportunity with 2 runners on base. He grounds it up the middle, though, and Swanson sends it over to Flores. The Giants leave 2 more runners on base, but they do score, matching the run from the Cubs in the top half of the inning as we move into the 6th. Lorenzen's going to stay in the game with how well he's performed as he strikes out Ian Happ on the slider. 6 innings of 1-run ball for Lorenzen. He's at around 100 pitches. I feel like he might have another inning out of him, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the Giants choose to be aggressive with him. Bottom 6, J.P. Crawford. He will send this one into center as it will be dropped by Cody Bellinger and go for a base hit. Crawford continuing his impressive season, really playing at an all-star level. The power numbers aren't really there, but everything else for Crawford when it comes to defense, walks, and obviously offense sure is. 2 away for Jake Fraley. He sends this one into left, but it is caught. Fraley entering the game off the bench as a pinch hitter, sends it to the warning track, but unfortunately not deep enough. Into the 7th, still tied at 1. Dansby Swanson leads things off, sends it into left field for a base knock, as his former Braves teammate Jorge Soler fields it, but Swanson is aboard to start the inning. That'll bring up Gavin Sheets now. Swanson goes for second. The throw from Martirano is not in time. That was a good throw, but Swanson is just barely safe. So now he's in scoring position, and Chicago's got a great chance here to take the lead as Sheets grounds it over to first. Gallo makes the play, tags the base. Runner advances, though. Swanson's now 90 feet away from home. That'll bring up our good friend Josh Bell. He lines it into right. Kepler will make the grab near the wall. That's going to be more than enough room for Swanson to score off the sacrifice. And it is a 2-1 ball game. The Cubs are back ahead. Reese McGuire now, full count. He rips this one into right as Reese McGuire finishes on another one. His second hit of the ball game. And that'll bring us back to the top of the order. Wilmer Flores drove in a run earlier as he grounds it to first. What a play by Gallo. He tags the base. That'll end the inning. 7 innings of 2-run ball for Lorenzen, and I imagine his day is done. What a play there, though, by Joey Gallo to end the inning. Joey Gallo's athletic. He's a big guy, but he can make plays as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Mark Leiter Jr. will come out of the bullpen here for Chicago, the son of former big league pitcher Mark Leiter and the older brother of former top draft pick Jack Leiter. As Blake Sabol comes in off the bench with a single into center. I get that Brandon Mortaranos played well today, 2 for 2, but Blake Sabol hits righties really well. He's the better player. We felt better with him up, and it proves to pay off as he gets the hit. Jung-Hoo Lee up the middle. Swanson, what a play! Tag second. Throw to first is offline, though. Did not mean to have Jung-Hoo Lee slide, but we'll roll with it. It ends up being a fielder's choice. Still a really impressive play. That'll bring up Jorge Soler now. Lee goes for second, and he is safe. So the Giants have the runner in scoring position here for Jorge. He would ultimately be out, first time today. And that brings up Max Kepler, who drove in a run in his last at-bat. And Kepler goes down on the splitter. Low and outside. Great pitch by Leiter. Chicago holds on to their lead going into the 8th. Taylor Rogers, the lefty, is in. He's been fantastic this year, only having allowed 1 run in just under 13 innings. As Tyler Wade goes down looking on the slurve. Good start to the inning for Rogers. Cody Bellinger now, full count. Draws a walk on the outside cutter. The Cubs get a base runner here for Ian Happ, who ignites on this ball into left field. And that one is long gone. 2-run home run for Ian Happ. And the Cubbies add to their lead. It's now 4-1 as that goes 410 feet. For Happ's 10th home run of the year amongst the leaders on the Cubs. Swanson now up the middle. Luciano, what a play. Throw to first is not in time, though. An infield single for Swanson. 3 consecutive hits allowed by Rogers, and he's going to be yanked. Twin brother Tyler will look to finish out the inning. Tyler Rogers hasn't been as good as his twin brother, but he's still been very effective. As Gallo makes another impressive play, tags the base with the liner from Sheets. Good inning, though, for the Cubs. They add 2 with the homer by Ian Happ, and we move into the bottom of the 8th. Julian Merriweather makes his 3rd appearance of the year. 2 scoreless innings so far. He'll face off against Tyro Estrada, who entered the game off the bench earlier. Pops it up over to first. Josh Bell in foul territory will tag after it. Another 1-2-3 inning. San Francisco's offense continuing to struggle as we move into the 9th. Josh Bell leads off the inning with a single into left, as Soler is able to slowly get over to it. Wilmer Flores is now up. Runner on, 1 away. Goes down on the outside slider. Nice pitch there by Rogers. That'll bring up Tyler Wade. He gets a piece of this one into right, and it's going to roll all the way to the corner. Kepler looks to get to it quickly. He'll prevent the run Bell from looking to score. But now the Cubs have 2 runners in scoring position, and that'll bring up Bo Bichette. He rips it into right. That'll go for a hit. 1 run scores. Second looks to join. The throw from Kepler is offline. 2-run single for Bo Bichette, and the Cubs lead 6-1. The Giants now look pretty much out of it. They're going to bring in Jose Leclerc to get the final out, with both of the Rogers twins really struggling today as Cody Bellinger goes down on the circle change. The Cubs doing really well here against the San Francisco bullpen with 2 runs in each of the last 2 innings. They're not even going to need the closer, and instead it'll be Yency Almonte who looks to finish it off for Chicago up by 5. He'll start with Joey Gallo. No hits today, but a really good game defensively at first. And he draws a walk, his 2nd of the afternoon. So Gallo is aboard. That'll bring up Jung-Hoo Lee, who has been really good this year, hitting around 340. But he's been quiet today, 0 for 4. Finally delivers a base hit. Sabol, who reached on a fielder's choice, is headed for 3rd, and he is safe. The Giants were playing with fire down to their final out. Didn't really need to send him, but they do anyway. Soler goes down looking. It won't matter. As the Cubs win it 6-1, they take the first 2 on the road in San Francisco. Not the start to this series that we wanted, being that the Cubs are obviously a team who's likely going to be contending with us the entire year for the wild card. as Chicago wins it 6-1 with 5 runs over the last 3 innings. Rough game from the bullpen. Shota Imanaga pitched really well, and the bullpen did too. Our offense just did not do well with runners on base. We got guys on, 9 hits, 4 walks, but it didn't matter. And we waste a really good start by Michael Lorenzen with bad offense and bad pitching from the bullpen. We're going to simulate our next 4 games, wrapping up the Cubs series, and then 3 against Cleveland. Patrick Bailey is back, so Brandon Mortarano will be sent down. Jung-Hoo Lee is a 10-game hitting streak on the line. It doesn't look like he's really swung the bat here, though. 0 for 1 with 3 walks. And the last game against the Cubs, which we won 14-11, by the way, he also walked 3 times, and in the other 2 at-bats, he homered in both of them. He's got to face off against the elite closer, though, Emmanuel Clase, and he goes down on the cutter. The Giants actually led this game 6-3 going into the 9th with a Duvall disaster class. It wouldn't matter too much. We walk it off in the 10th with an RBI single by David Villar. We ended up going 4-0 in the games that we simulated, including, again, this 14-11 win against the Cubs with a great performance by Jung-Hoo Lee. Kyle Harrison allowed 6 runs, but it didn't matter as both offenses went berserk, followed by a sweep against the Guardians. We're now 27-20. We've won a few in a row. We're going to be sending down Jordan Hicks, though. This signing has been just an unmitigated disaster. He was not good last year, and he's taken it to another level this year. His ERA is above 11. His whip is almost 3. His WAR is the same as Logan Webb, which makes no sense. But if Jordan Hicks doesn't pick it up, he's going to get DFA'd. He's been that bad. Forrest Whitley will be called up to replace him. The former 27-year-old top prospect will finally get his major league chance, and he'll do it as a long reliever. I want to play this second game against the Rockies. We're going to hop into the first one, and look at this. Tied at 3 in the top of the 8th. Bases are loaded, so innings over, guys. It's been fun. But Thairo Estrada has other plans. Singles into left. It's 4-3. I think the key for us when the bases are loaded is swinging at pitches that are like 6 inches outside of the strike zone. That's what Estrada does there, and it pays off. Austin Slater now into right. Finds the window for a double. 1 run scores. 2 runs score. How about 3? Austin Slater clears the bases at 7-3. I don't believe it. When the bases were loaded, the offense delivered. A broken clock is right twice a day, guys. Apparently, this blind squirrel found the nut. With an RBI single by Crawford to add to the lead, the Giants win at 8-3, now winners of 5 in a row. Shout out the guys for delivering here in the 8th, and also shout out Blake Sable, who had a great game. As for Forrest Whitley, his debut pitches the final 3 innings, allowing just 1 base runner. Jung-Hoo Lee does suffer a minor injury, so he'll be out for a few days, including this second matchup against Colorado. The Rockies are the one team in the NL West not gunning for a playoff spot at this point. They are 14-36. They are really not good, despite the fact that Brendan Rodgers has been, maybe without exaggeration, the best player in Major League Baseball through the first month and a half of the season. I know it sounds crazy, but the guy's hitting .367. His OPS is at around 1,100. He's already tied his career high in home runs, and he's about to hit his career high in WAR. Let's look at Austin Gumbert, the lefty starting for the Rockies. 0-4, but he hasn't been completely abysmal, especially considering he pitches in COORS. ERA at around 4.6, whip at around 1.4. He'll face off against J.P. Crawford after retiring the first 2 batters. And Crawford pops it up into no man's land in left center, and it will be caught by Ezekiel Tovar at short. Let's go to the bottom of the first. We'll take a look at Kyle Harrison, who had a really good April, just like last year. And again, like last year, it seems like he's trending downwards after his first couple of starts. Still has been productive, making his 10th outing of the year, but it is worrisome that he may be continuing the trend. Nolan Jones grounds out to short. Crawford's throw is in time, as both offenses are unable to get a base runner in the first, and we move into the bottom of the second. Let's look at Brendan Rodgers, who has been unbelievable this season, and he starts his day by ripping this one into right. Kepler chases after it. That'll go for a double, though. Brendan Rodgers is hitting .550 against left-handed pitching this year. I mean, the dude has just been absolutely raking. He is a legit Triple Crown threat. Maybe not the RBIs because he has nobody to drive in. But other than that, he's been elite. Fittingly, the Rockies will not score him as Chris Bryant grounds out to second. And keep in mind, Rodgers made that play with nobody out. Let's move into the third. No base runners so far for San Francisco until now. A single up the middle by Marco Luciano, who has definitely cooled off after that hot stretch. I didn't really expect that to stick, but as long as he looks like a major league caliber player, you can't really complain. And he still has been productive, hitting around 290. Austin Slater with 2 gone, flies it into right. It is caught. And Austin Gomber has been really good so far, only having allowed the 1 hit to Luciano. Bottom 3, Sterling Thompson, lefty on lefty. He goes down on the slider. That'll bring us to Anthony Mulrine, and he crushes this one into right field. Kepler can only watch it fly as it goes over the fence for a home run. The second lawn bomb in the career of Anthony Mulrine, and the Colorado Rockies are on the board first as they lead at 1-0. Benny Montgomery, former top 10 draft pick, is up now. He will draw a walk as he takes a look at the circle change. That'll bring up Nolan Jones. He draws a walk as well, so Harrison walks too. And Harrison's done such a good job this year of avoiding the walks. Brendan Rodgers launches this one into center. Ramos chases after it, and it is gone. Another home run for Rodgers, his 16th of the year, which again is a career high, which is wild because he's been an everyday starter for this team for 4 years. Now gets a career high in home runs in the middle of May. Rodgers only had 12 home runs in the last 2 seasons. Ezequiel Tovar grounds it to third. Villar deflects it. Tovar is safe, and the strong inning for the Rockies continues as Kyle Harrison has gotten rocked. Kike Hernandez pops this one up into center. Ramos is after it, and he will make the play. But a big inning for Colorado. They score 4, headlined by a 3-run homer by Brendan Rodgers. Into the 4th now. Thairo Estrada looks to get things started here. He rips this one into the gap. It one hops off the wall as Estrada will make it to second for a leadoff double. And the Giants start the inning with a base runner. They've got some damage control to do here, obviously being down by 4. That'll bring up J.P. Crawford now, lefty on lefty crime with a runner in scoring position. Nobody in baseball has done better in situational hitting opportunities this year than J.P. Crawford, who splits it between the pitcher's legs for a single. Estrada scores, and that'll make it 4-1 as San Francisco's on the board looking to cut into this deficit. That'll bring up Jorge Soler now, 2-2 with Crawford aboard and nobody out. And Soler launches this one into straightaway center. That baby is out of here. Soler power brings the Giants quickly within 1. That's Jorge's 11th home run of the year, the first Giant in the double-digit home run club. And that was an absolute piss missile going nearly 450 feet. And San Francisco quickly brings this game within 1. That'll bring up Max Kepler, lefty on lefty, and Kepler hits this one pretty well and awfully high into left, at the track, at the wall. It's gone! Back-to-back home runs. First Jorge Soler, now Max Kepler, and this game is tied at 4. So after the Rockies get a big inning, the Giants say what you can do, we can do better, and there's still nobody out. That'll bring up the catcher now, Patrick Bailey, and he will make it 3 in a row! A liner into right, tosses the bat, it's 5-4. That's Pat Bailey's first home run of the season, and San Francisco goes back to back to back. Really enjoying the hitter-friendly park here at COORS. Can Luciano make it 4 in a row? No, but he singles his second hit of the game, and the Giants, who had 1 hit coming into the inning, have gotten their first 6 batters to reach off of base hits. That'll bring up David Villar now, the third baseman. And he launches this one into right, tosses the bat into the second deck. It's now 7-4. That's 4 of the last 5 batters to hit home runs for the Giants, who now have 7 batters in a row to start the inning, get consecutive hits. How is Austin Gomber still in the game? I get that he pitched really well to start, but I feel like after 4 or 5 hits in a row and after multiple home runs, you probably should have thought to take him out of the game. Well, finally, they are going to yank him after a disastrous inning, allowing 7 hits and 4 home runs without recording an out. He'll be replaced by the lefty Kyle Freeland, who's pitched in 10 games this year, primarily as a starter. He's thrown 60 innings and has been really good with an ERA at 3.3. I have no clue why he's coming out of the bullpen, but to each their own. as Elliot Ramos hits this one high and deep. How about another one possibly at the track, at the wall? It goes off the wall. It stays in the park, but it'll go for an extra base hit as Ramos is aboard with a double. That is now 8 consecutive batters here with a hit. And in case you're curious, the MLB record for consecutive batters with a hit is 11, ironically by the Rockies. It looks like it'll be Slater who ends the streak with a ground out to short. The previous batter to be out before this at bat was Austin Slater in the last inning. 2 away now for J.P. Crawford. High liner into right. It goes off the top of the wall. That'll drive in another run. Crawford's second RBI of the inning. Also his second double of the inning. And so San Francisco makes it 8-4. Soler homered earlier in the frame. He grounds it over to second. Rogers makes the play. And finally, the inning comes to a close for Colorado, but not before allowing 8 runs. The Giants did the old double it and give it to the next person as they doubled the amount of runs the Rockies got in the last inning. Let's move now to the bottom of the 4th. Colorado still is coming off a 4-run inning, so Kyle Harrison's got to watch out as he strikes out Chris Bryant on the fastball. Anthony Mulrine now rips it into right. Kepler will not make the diving play, and it'll roll all the way to the wall as Elliot Ramos chases after it quickly, but not before Mulrine gets his second extra base hit of the game, a 2-out double. That'll bring us back to the top of the order as Benny Montgomery goes down looking. And with that, Kyle Harrison gets out of the inning. We move into the 5th. Marco Luciano, 2 for 2 today with a grounder to short. Tovar will make the play, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. The Giants have 1 hit, with the exception of the 4th, where they got 9. It would be kind of funny if we win this game and only score 8 runs and get barely any hits the rest of the way, because it would look like our offense had such a good game when they really didn't. Bottom 5, it's Sean Bouchard who goes down looking. Nice pitch by Harrison. Nolan Jones now. Liner into left. That one will drop for a 1-out single. And guess who that brings up to the plate? Brendan Rodgers, who's already driven in 3 with 2 extra base hits. The best hitter in baseball statistically this year is going to get another one. Rips it into the corner and left. 112 off the bat. That'll go for a double. Jones looks to score. Throw from Crawford is off the mark. It's now 8-5. So Brendan Rodgers is 3 for 3 today. 2 doubles, a home run. He's driven in 4 runs. Yeah, this dude's the real deal. He's going to make an insane amount of money in the offseason, being that he's a free agent, playing his best ball at the right time. Kyle Harrison gets yanked. He'll be replaced by Tristan Beck, who looks to keep the lead here at 3. We don't want the Rockies to pull off some big comeback because the offense hasn't shown that other than the 4th inning that they've really got a whole lot in them. As Ezequiel Tovar goes down looking, but not before the Rockies add another run off the bat of Brendan Rodgers. Let's move into the 6th now. Elliot Ramos is up. He doubled and scored in his last at-bat, looking for a second base hit, and he'll get it. Singles in to right, and with 1 away, Ramos is aboard with his second base knock of the night. And I think Elliot Ramos has played quite well since being called up. He's really improved since the start of last year. Austin Slater now with a base hit, so he finally joins the hit club, the only guy who didn't have one prior. Tyro Estrada now sends it into right, and it's caught! What a catch by Nolan Jones! Ramos looks to tag. The throw from Jones is in time! Nolan Jones doubles up the Giants with an incredible catch and an incredible throw. Bottom 6 now. Sterling Thompson up the middle. Gets by the glove of Crawford. And that'll go for a 1-out single. That'll bring us to Anthony Mulrine, who's been really good today. His 3rd hit of the night as it goes off the foul wall and right for a single. Mulrine is a triple shy of the cycle. And this is a guy who was hitting 130 with 3 career hits coming into the day, doubling his total. Benny Montgomery will drive in the run from 3rd. It's now 8-6. And the Rockies are digging into this lead. They've now got the tying run on base. That'll bring up Sean Boucher. Full count. He hits this one well into left. Soler chases after it. And it will one-hop off the wall. 1 run scores. It's 8-7. Montgomery looks to score. And he will. We're tied at 8 with an RBI double by Boucher. That'll bring us to Brendan Rodgers. And he chases for Slurve. Unable to get his 4th hit of the game. That was Taylor Rogers, by the way, who came in out of the bullpen to replace Beck. Bold strategy putting a lefty against Rogers, but it pays off. Into the top of the 7th now. Jorge Soler up the middle. What a play and throw by Ezekiel Tovar from his back. The Giants really have done nothing offensively since the 4th inning. It's been tough to watch. Bottom 7 now. Tyler Rogers comes out of the bullpen. 3.55 ERA. He faces off against Chris Bryant. And Bryant looks to tap into his old Chicago form. Into center here with 2 away. That one's gone. And the Giants, who once led 8-4, have choked the lead away. It's now 9-8. That's Bryant's 6th home run of the year, going 432 feet. Sterling Thompson strikes out. That'll wrap up the 7th. Not a bad inning, though, for the Rockies. They take the lead. And San Francisco's got some work to do, and it's not going to be easy. They've done nothing in 6 out of 7 innings today. Tyler Kinley will come out of the bullpen for the Rockies. He'll face off against Joey Gallo, who comes in off the bench as a pinch hitter. Joey Gallo was born for COORS, but he ultimately goes down looking on the inside slider. We go bottom 8 now. Rockies still ahead 9-8. Jose Leclerc will come in out of the bullpen here for the Giants. He's been pretty solid this year. Maybe not up to expectations, but still pretty good. As he will get the liner to second, retires this side quickly, and we move into the 9th. The closer, Justin Lawrence, will come out of the bullpen to look to finish things off here for Colorado and snap the Giants' win streak at 5. Lawrence has been really solid this year, 8 of 9 in save ops with an ERA at 1.74. The Giants still have not scored since the 4th. And we'll start with Elliot Ramos. Liner to second, hit hard, 91 off the bat, but Brendan Rodgers makes the play. Jake Fraley off the bench gets plunked. That's one way to get a runner. Tyne runs aboard, and Fraley's pretty fast. That'll bring up Thairo Estrada now, 2-2. Fraley goes for second. Estrada singles into right. Fraley's going to make his way over to third. Nolan Jones with another unbelievable throw, but it's not in time. And now a sacrifice here from Crawford would tie the game. Again, there's nobody in baseball who's better in these situational opportunities than J.P. Crawford. He rips a liner into right center field. It's got some carry, and it's gone! 3-run homer here in the top of the 9th for J.P. Crawford, his 5th of the year. And San Francisco leads at 11-9 as that one goes 440 feet. And with that, Crawford, who's now driven in 5 runs today, is top 5 in all of baseball in RBIs. And I get that RBI really isn't the best stat, but for a guy like Crawford, it really shows his value to this team. As with that, Lawrence is yanked out of the game after blowing his 2nd save of the year. He'll be replaced by the rookie lefty Charlie White, who's not had a good year. ERA at 13.5, allowing 9 runs in 6 innings. Jorge Soler ropes it down the third base line. That one's going to go for a single. He thought about extras, but the left fielder does a good job of cutting it off. San Francisco clearly looking for some insurance with how well the Rockies have hit the ball today. As Max Kepler launches it into left. His 2nd opposite field home run of the game, and it's 13-9. The Giants really have relied on just having certain spurts where they get hot. That's Kepler's 9th home run of the season. 6th home run for the team today. It's impressive that they have 13 runs and have only scored in 2 different innings. Luciano grounds it to second. Rodgers will make the play, but the Giants will hang on for a little bit longer. They score 5 here in the 9th to keep the game going. It's no longer a save opportunity for Camilo Doval with the lead at 4, but he was loose anyway, so we're going to bring him in. Doval's been a little inconsistent this year, but despite that, he hasn't blown a save. He's a perfect 15 for 15, but he has allowed a few too many runs. He'll strike out Brendan Rodgers on this sinker, and that'll bring us to the final hope here for the Rockies. Ezekiel Tovar with a grounder to first. Kepler scoops it up, moving to first as a defensive substitution, gets it to Doval. He tags the base, and that'll do it. The Giants win this one 13-9. What a weird game. This might be the only time where a team scores 13 runs and their offense was not very good. We did not hit the ball well for most of the game, but we hit well in spurts. 8 runs in the 4th, 5 in the 9th. That's all we needed. Notable performers include J.P. Crawford, 3 for 5. The go-ahead homer. He drove in 5 runs. Jorge Soler had a great game. Max Kepler homered twice. Bailey homered. VR homered. The pitching was not very good. The Rockies crushed the ball. Anthony Mulrine, 3 for 4. Triple shy at the cycle. Brendan Rodgers, 3 for 5. Drove in 4. He had an excellent game with 3 extra base hits. But again, the Rockies pitching was not good, again, in spurts. They had 7 strong innings. But it won't matter when the pitching just forgets how to operate for 2 innings. We'll see if we can continue the 6-game win streak with 6 more games, wrapping up the series against Colorado, and then 3 against Atlanta, 2 against Seattle. As Edwin Arroyo fractures his shin. That's not good. He'll be out for a month or 2. Of our top hitting prospects in Double-A, Kyler Rodriguez is the last of the 3 to suffer a long-term injury. I would not have expected that going into the year. Jonathan India's off the injured list, and I really didn't want to send down Ilya Ramos, especially considering Austin Slater is hitting 195. But what Slater provides against lefties, I feel like is too important, and there's nobody else to send down. We're going to look to get Ramos back up in the big leagues as soon as possible because he played well hitting 300, but there's nobody else to bring down. The other candidate would have been David Villar, and he's been even better than Ramos. We're going to hop into this first game here against the Braves. Unfortunately, the win streak snapped the last matchup against Colorado as the Giants are unable to turn 2 here with Adam Duvall up. So now there's runners on the corners, 2 away for Orlando Arcia. Gets that one by the diving glove of Crawford for a base hit, and this game is tied at 3. So Arcia comes up big for the Braves, and that'll bring up Sean Murphy. Single into center. They can take the lead here. The throw to the plate from Jung-Hoo Lee, who's back healthy, is a good one, but a little bit offline and not in time. Atlanta's now up 4-3. Back to the top of the order. Michael Harris down the line. They should bring in another one here as the throw from Soler is off the mark, and it's now 5-3. Jose Leclerc has been giving up batting practice here with 2 away. How about another one? Zach McKinstry into center. That'll make it 6-3. Kind of what we saw in the Rockies game when they took too long to take out Austin Gomber. The Giants are doing that here with Jose Leclerc. Taylor Rogers is out of the bullpen. He walks Ronald Acuna, and now the bases are loaded. That'll bring up Zach Humphreys, who replaces Matt Olson, who had to sub out due to an injury, and he goes down on the slurve. So Atlanta leaves them loaded, but they do lead now 6-3. We'll see if the Giants get a chance to potentially come back, and they would not. The Braves win 6-3 with a huge 8-inning, and they did it with their B team. Look at their lineup. When I first saw it, I was really confused. Then I see that Matt Olson, Ozzy Albies, and Marcell Ozuna all left the game. But still, other than like Harris, Acuna, and Murphy, we didn't play against any of their super key players. We would end up splitting the last 2 games against the Braves. That brings us into the first of 2 against Seattle. As this one is hit into right by Emilio Diaz. It's 3-2 here in the bottom of the 9th. And Camilo Duvall's got to not allow another hit here because Cole Young can tie the game. Count is 2-2. Pitch on its way from Duvall. Got him looking. Cutter right down the middle. And the Giants win this one here against Seattle by the score of 3-2. We would end up losing the second game against the Mariners, so we only go 2-4 in that 6-game stretch we simulated after our 6-game win streak. But still, overall, a pretty successful episode as we continue to show here through the month of May that we are a legit wildcard contender here at 31 and at 24. Currently the second wildcard in the National League behind the Cincinnati Reds. And that'll wrap things up here today. I hope everybody enjoyed. Next episode, I plan on taking our first look at the draft class. And I don't want to spoil too much, but this year's draft class is unbelievably rich with talent. Should be really exciting. We're going to dive into the pitchers in the next episode in terms of those prospects. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.